Good afternoon to one and all. And today class I'm going to deliver about how to construct the parsing table from the computed goto function. See here, after computing the goto function, my canonical set of items consisting of I0 to item. And from I0 to item, after computing the goto function, I'm having the set with I0 to I10 items, right? And what the next step? What the next step is to be? For constructing the SLR parser, and the first is formatting the augmented grammar as it was completed, and the second step is LR of 0 items, constructing LR of 0 items, and here in second step we are constructing the both closure function and the goto function. The second step was also completed. And what the third step is? What the third step? Finding of the first and follow functions. And by knowing, by performing the computations of goto functions, finally we know the set of canonical items, the set of items that we represented like this. And after this, what the next step is, and now I am finding out the first and follow function for the given grammar. What the given grammar is, and here make a note of this. Here we're finding out the first and follow function for the grammar G dash, not the grammar G. That means along with the augmented grammar rules, we are having the grammar G dash. We named it as an G dash. So for that G dash, we are constructing the first and follow function. Once all of you see here what the outputs of the non-terminals for the first function and for the follow function. See here I constructed the first function for S dash, S, A and B, and as well as the follow function for the S dash, S, A and B, right? And see the outputs of the first of S dash and first of S, first of A and first of B. Follow of S dash, follow of S, follow of A and follow of B, right? And see here what is first of S dash. When I'm writing the first of S dash, checking out in the given grammar that the rule is S dash tends to S. Now I am writing for this rule, first of S dash. What the first appearing symbol in the right hand side? It is S. That means it is a non-terminal. So what I need to do? I need to determine the first of S now. Because directly I am not having an epsilon, or directly I am not having the terminal. Here I am having the non-terminal. If we are having the non-terminal, then what we need to do? We need to determine the first function for that particular variable. That means for that particular non-terminal. And now I'm going for the production S, where the S is in the second rule. S tends to A, B, E, right? And up to now I didn't get what the output of S dash in the first function. And here I need to determine for the S, and then I will check it out whether the S is directly giving the terminal or not. And here I'm checking what is first of S. The first appearing symbol on the right hand side is an A, right? And now the first of S is an small a. The first of S is an small a. And this, whatever the output we get at for first of S, that is same for the first of S dash. So for the S dash and the S, the both outputs are same in the first function. And coming to for first of A, here first of A is having two rules. Make a note of these two rules. A tends to ABC or B. And here when I am constructing the first function for the rule 1, first of A is, again it is first of A. But the A is having another rule, that is B. So the B is directly an terminal. So I am writing the output directly. It is an terminal output with an B. See here. First of A is B. Now what is first of B? The first appearing symbol in the RHS is D. So D is an terminal. Directly write down this D. This is the way of constructing the first function from the given productions. And here now I am constructing for the follow. What is follow of S dash? Follow of S dash is, I am checking for where the S dash appears at the right hand side of the production rules. In all the 5, here we are having 4 production rules overall. Why? Because A is having the 2 rules. And when I'm separating this, writing the rule for the A in and 2-line statements, then we're having finally 5 rules. And no need to bother about the sequence numbers. See here, what is first of S dash? And I'm checking at the right hand side of the rules where the S dash is. There is no S dash in any production at the right hand side. So Directly we are writing the dollar. As per following the rule from the construction of follow function, the rule number 1, just place dollar at the starting symbol of the given grammar. Here in this grammar, the starting symbol is an S dash. So we are just placing the S dash here because there are no S dash variables at the right hand side of the given production rules. So we are directly writing the answer like this. And now I need to construct for the follow of S. I'm checking where the S is. S is at the RHS. In rule number 1, we are having the S at RHS. See, in the production number 1, we are having S at the RHS. See, and now we are taking this production rule, S dash tends to S. And now make this S as an B. And what the beta is. Now we are mapping this production rule with the syntax of follow function, that is A tends to alpha B beta. For which variable we are constructing the follow function, that variable should be an B, right? So now I am constructing for the S, right? So I am making this S as an capital B. And both the alpha and beta are epsilon. Here, depending on the value of the beta, we are deciding what the rule to be applied further. And here the beta is an epsilon. So I am applying the rule like follow of A is equal to follow of B, or follow of B is equal to follow of A. Means I was already computed for the S dash. So follow of S is equal to follow of S dash. And what the output for the S dash is dollar. So the same output we are taking for the S here, right? Is it clear now? And now what the follow of A? And by considering, by constructing this follow of A, we are having two rules in the right hand side, where the A is appearing at the right hand side in two rules. See, S tends to AABE, A tends to ABC. Now make this A as an B, capital B. And what the beta is? Beta is a non-terminal capital B. That is first of beta is first of capital B. What is first of capital B? D. We already constructed for the B, right? It is a D, union. Here, we are having the another rule and make this as an B. And what is beta? Beta is an terminal, that is B. B, union B. And we need to get the dollar at the output of each and every variable. That's the main role of using this follow function. So here I am applying the rule like follow of A is equal to follow of B and follow of B is equal to follow of A, right? And in these two cases, the both are same, A and A. But here follow of B, that is follow of A is equal to follow of S. What is follow of S? Dollar. That means here we get an output small d. Here we get an output small b. And by applying the rule follow of B is equal to follow of A, there we get an output dollar. And by using an union operator, just the output is D comma B comma dollar. The output is D comma B comma dollar. And what is follow of B? Follow of B, and checking where the B appears at the right hand side of the production rules. In the rule number 2, we are having the B at the right hand side. So take this, consider this rule. S tends to A, B, E. Now make this B as a capital B, because now we are constructing for the B, right? So this is an B. And what is beta here? Beta is directly an terminal. And we're writing the terminal in the output. Along with the terminal, we need a dollar. So we are applying the rule follow of B is equal to follow of A. What it mean? Follow of B is equal to follow of S. And what is the follow of S output? Dollar, right? And here union, E union dollar. And by using the union operator, the output is E comma dollar. That is the output for the follow of B. And this is the first and follow table that we constructed up to now. Just where find out the first and follow functions for each and every non-terminal from the given grammar, right? And now the next is constructing the parsing table, which is the most important thing, most important step that we need to follow when we're constructing the SLR parsing table. See, this table consisting of 3 columns. One is an item number, the second is an action, the third one is an go to function, right? And the item numbers are whatever the collection, the canonical set of items consisting of I0 to I10. Just we are writing here 0 to 10. 0 to 10. We are writing like this. And action consisting of all the terminals along with the dollar from the given grammar. Here we are considering the grammar G, not the grammar G dash. Here we are considering the grammar G, right? From the given grammar G, we are writing all this. We are writing all this. The action consisting of all the terminals along with the dollar from the given grammar. And from the given grammar, see here, you are having in grammar, right? From the given grammar, what the terminals are A, B, C, D, E. And along with the dollar, right? These are all the terminals. A, B, C, D, E, dollar. And goto function, we are constructing the goto functions for the non-terminals. That means in the grammar, we are having three variables S, A, B. S, A, B are the three variables from the given grammar. So variables or non-terminals both are same here. S, A, B. So we are taking the non-terminals in the goto function and the terminals along with the dollar in the action column, right? And now we are filling these entries. How to fill these entries? First, initially we are filling the goto table, goto column. Where now we are filling the goto column. See how many non-terminals we are having here? S, A, B. And how many items we are having? 0 to 10. These items are from the computation that we done by applying the goto function, right? And now to fill the entries with the item and the non-terminals, we need to take the outputs from the computations of goto function. That means for the non-terminals, item with the non-terminals, what the output that we are getting? See here, for example, goto of I naught comma S. That means 0 with S is I1, right? But here in the table, we are representing like without I, we are representing with an sequence number 1 by just we're taking the numbers there. That means 0 with S, 1. I naught with S is an I1 there in the computation. But when writing, when representing in the table, how we're calling it is as 0 with S is 1. We need not represent an I here. Just we are taking the only the number sequence here, 1. And check I naught with S. And I'm going to check the I naught item with the non-terminals. S is completed. And is there any more non-terminals with the I naught? Yes, A. I naught with A is I3. How we are representing this in the table? I naught with S. I naught with S is I3, right? I naught with, I naught with A is I3, right? So we are taking only the number, just representing in this entry with an 3. That means item number I naught, item number 0, I naught with A. We get an item number 3 there. But here, how we are representing, we are just only that, we are only considering the numbers, not with an alphabet I. That's why we are in the goto function, we are only writing the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. So only we are writing the number 3 here. And checking out whether is there any more variable that we done with an I naught. I naught with S is completed and I naught with A is completed. Now check whether is there any more when we perform an goto function with an I naught. No more is there. And now check for the other. Here we are having I2 with A. I2 with A is 6. What it mean in item number 2 in the goto function table A, there we need to write the or fill the entry with an 6 like this. That means I2 with A is 6, right? Is it clear? For representing the for filling the entries in the goto function, we need to represent like this. See here, I2 with A is completed, and here I3, these are the terminals where we, for filling the goto, we only considering the non-terminals, not an terminals. So I6 with B, here we are having I6 with B. B is a non-terminal. So what the item we are having here? I8, right? See in the table, at I6 with B, there we fill that entry cell, we fill that cell with an entry 8 by representing with an 8, right? Is it clear? And now check it out, any other more with that I6. No more variables that we performed with an I6. And then all these are all the terminals. No more is left. And we check overall computation, and in that overall computation, and we take the items along with the variables, what the value, what the number it represents. That means I naught with S is represented with an I1. I naught with S is represented with an item number I1. So we're only considering the number with the variable, what the item number it is. When we perform the goto function with the item number with an variable, what the item number, new item number, it was there. That's only we're considering here, right? Is it clear how to write the goto function for the non-terminals? Now I am checking for the terminals from each and every item. Starting with an I naught, I am checking for the terminals. Up to now, I fill the goto column just by filling with the numbers. Just by filling with the numbers, and from the goto of the state with the state in the sense the item with the variables, whatever the output that we get there in the form of the item numbers, that we are considering and just we are placing it or filling in that cell. And here we need to consider the terminals. Now I am filling the action column. Action column consisting of four basic operations from the shift reduce parser. One is to shift, one is to reduce, and the third one is to accept, and the fourth one is to error. Initially, while filling the action column, first what the thing that you need to do is, at item number one comma dollar is always accept. This from the algorithm that we are applying here. This is from the algorithm that we are applying here. One comma dollar is always accepted. Action of one comma dollar is always accepted. First fill this entry. First fill this entry cell. Then go for the next. First initially fill this cell with the action of one comma dollar is accept. Then checking for the other entries. How to fill those? See, from the computation, go to computation. Now, I am considering only the terminals. The non-terminals are considered at the go-to function. In the action column, we are considering the terminals, right? Now, go-to of I naught with A. At 0 with A, it gives I2. But when we are placing this value, when we are placing this value in the goto function directly by taking the number, but while coming to the action column, we need to replace this alphabet with an S. This I is changed to S now. Why? Because there we are performing four operations, either to shift, either to reduce, or either to accept, or finally to maybe it may be an error, right? So when to shift, when to reduce, and when to say the show that it is an acceptable string, and finally when we concluded that it may be an error. And these four conditions will be applicable when we fill the table like this. The I naught with A is I2 from the computation, but while coming to the representation in the table, see, I naught with A is S2 in the place by just by using the item I2, just I am replacing it with an S2. I am not changing the number. I am not changing the sequence number. Just I am changing the alphabet here. What it means is S represents the shift. S represents the shift. Why? Because by performing this action, by performing to process this action table, we need to perform only the four operations. That means either to shift or reduce or accept or error. So that's why I'm using S alphabet in the place of an I. Right. Is it clear now? Now please check it. I naught with A is I2 here, but there I naught at 0 with A it is S2. And here at 0 with B it is S4. See here. At 0 with B is S4. Why? Because there at that place of computation with 0 with B is I4, but it is changed to S4. We're not changing the number, just we are changing the alphabet. There we find out the canonical set of items. Here, to perform or to process the action table, we need to replace the alphabet in the form of S. Why? Because S represents an shift. S represents an shift. It indicates the shift operation, right? And I naught with B, I naught with A is completed, I naught with B is I4 there represent in an S4, and 0 with D is I5 here. But while coming to there, 0 with D is S5. S5. Is it clear now? 0 with D is S5. And go for the next computation. Up to this we completed the I naught. Now check for the I2. This was completed in go to function, no need to write again. Only for the terminals we are we are filling the entries in the action column. And I2 with small b is I4. See in the table, I2 with b is S4. I2 with b is S4. Right? Is it clear? Now I think you all understand how to fill the entries for the terminals in action column. Now, I3 with B is I7. I3 with B is I7. But here, while coming to representation, I3 with B is S7. S. It is S7. And now, I6 with B is I7. Again, at I6 with B, it is S7. See here, it is S7. I6 with D is I5, and while representing in the table it is S5. I6 with D is S5. Is it clear now? Now see here, I7 with C is I9. I7 with C is I9. And please check in the table, I7 with C is S9. It is not an I, it is an SY, because we are using an shift operation, S9. And again, check in the computations. Is there any more? Yes. I8 with E is I10. I8 with E is I10. That means when representing in the table, it is I8 with E is S10. Right? Is it clear? And with the computations that we made with the item along with the symbols, and in that symbols, if the symbol is a non-terminal, then we are representing the output of the symbol in the place of goto function, right? That means goto of the item with the non-terminals we represented in an goto column, and goto of the item with the terminal symbols, whatever the output that we get in the form of an item number, just by giving an item number, that we are taking that item numbers and we are representing in the tables like this, right? Is it clear? And in this column we consider the item number along with the non-terminal. In this, for writing the shift operations, we consider the item number along with the terminals. Is it clear now? Now how to write the reduces? How to write the reduces? See, again, from the given grammar, this is the given grammar, right? S tends to A, B, E, A tends to A, B, C, A tends to B, B tends to D, right? And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Give the sequence number that R1, use small r's, R1, R2, R3, R4. And here, to write the reduce operations, to fill the reduces in the table representation, how to fill those? How to fill? How to write the reduce numbers? That means, see, initially in the modified grammar or from the closure of I, initially from the closure of I, the rule number 1, S tends to dot AABE, right? The rule number 1 is an S tends to dot AABE. That means the dot is placed at the starting of the production rule. And when the dot is ended, after performing the goto functions, when the dot is ended, in which state or in which item the dot is ended for this production rule? That I think, do you get my question? When the dot ends in this production rule, that means here it is at the starting of the production rule, after performing some goto functions, then when it gets ended, see here at item number 10, at item number 10, the rule number 1, S tends to A, B, E dot is ended. That means the dot is processed. The overall processing for that rule was completed at item number 10. Make a note of this, right? At item number 10, the processing of the dot was completed by performing the goto function. Make a note. And which rule it is? R1. Underline that, R1. And what the rule it is, S tends to AABE. That means we need to check what the follow of S is. What the follow of S is? Dollar, right? The follow of S is dollar. In the place of this dollar, see, in item number 10, right? That rule was ended, the dot processing was ended at item number 10, right? Which rule it is? It is an R1, right? And what the follow of S is? Dollar. So just at I10, action of I10 comma dollar is R1. That is, you need to reduce R1. You need to reduce R1 means not 1. What the R1 rule is, that we need to take it out, right? But here we need to know, we need not bother about what the R1 rule is. Just we are replacing, we are placing the or filling that entry with R1 at the place of 10 comma dollar, action of 10 comma dollar, right? Is it clear? And again, what the second rule it is? A tends to dot ABC. A tends to dot ABC is the rule number 2. Make a note, R2. It is an R2. Initially, it is at the starting of the dot is placed at starting of the right hand side. And when the dot processed and when it gets ended, in which item it gets ended, and checking in the go to computations, and it is ended at item number 9. So in the table, you should go for the item number 9. And what the rule it is? A tends to ABC, right? That means we need to consider the follow outputs for the A. When we are writing the reduces, then only we need to consider the follow outputs, right? That's why I consider the follow of S and I place it the R1 at 10 comma dollar. But here now, it is at the second rule, R2 is ended at 10, the dot is processed at the end of the production rule in item number 9. So at I9, this is rule number 2, R2, right? What the follow of A output is? Follow of A is D comma B comma dollar. Make a note, D comma B comma dollar. In the place of D comma B comma dollar at I9, item number 9, that is rule number 2. D comma B comma dollar place R2, 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 R2. This entry is filled with an R2. R2, R2, R2. Right, is it clear? Now, what the third rule it is? A tends to B. R3 is an A tends to B. And from the computations where it gets ended, once check all of you. From the go to computation where the rule number 3 gets ended at I4, the rule starts with an A. That means we need to take the output of follow of A. Make a note. This is an R3 rule. At I4, this rule, the dot was processed and ended. And go to the table representation. At I4, item number 4, that is rule 3. What the follow of A? D comma B comma B comma D comma dollar. B, D, dollar. That is an R3, R3, R3. Right, is it clear now? Now, what is the next rule? B tends to D. This is the R4. This is an R4. B tends to D is an fourth rule. So, make it as an R4. And when the dot was processed and in which state it gets ended? I5. I5. That means in the parsing table, we should go to the I5 item number. And there, by considering what the output of follow of B is, because this rule is with B tends to D. So we're considering the follow of B here. What is the output of follow of B? E comma dollar, right? The rule number is R4. It was ended at an I5. So in the table at I5, and what the follow of B is E comma dollar. And just we are filling with an R4 and R4, filling these two entries, E comma dollar is the output of the follow of B. So in this place we are filling with an R4 and here also we are filling with an R4, right? Is it clear now? And this is and overall the 4 rules from the given grammar are completed. So I'm stopping the representation here. My parsing table was constructed by writing the shift operations, by writing the reduce operations, and by writing an accept operation, and by writing an error. Where we write an error means whatever the blank cells we're having here, blank entry, And 1 with A is an error, 2 with A is an error. All these are the empty blanks. All these are all comes under the errors, right? And this is the way of representing or constructing the parsing table from the computations of goto function and the construction of first and follow function. Is it clear, all of you? And now I am explaining you the input parsing with an stack by using this table. See, what my input is, I'm storing my input string into an input buffer. Here I'm having the data structure stack, input buffer, and this is from action table, and this is from goto table, and what type of an action that I'm performing, just I am representing here. And my input is an A, B, B, C, D, E is an input here. A, B, B, C, D, E is an input. And initially my stack is with an empty stack. Initially it considered with an 0. That means it contains an 0. Initially it is with an 0. My stack is with an 0. So I'm performing the action now. Action of 0 comma A. See in the table. 0 with A. What we're having in that entry? 0 with A. When we're seeing the action of 0 with A from the parsing table, it is S2. S2, that means we need to shift. We need to perform the parsing action, that is shift. What we are shifting here? The input symbol from the input buffer along with the number, along with this number. That means A and 2 are shifted into the stack. This A and 2 are pushed onto the stack. Now my stack, initially it is in 0, and now my stack contains 0, A2, right? Now again perform action of this 2 comma B, action of 2 comma B. And from the parsing table, what the 2 comma B is? S4. What it means is shift 4. Shift 4. What I am shifting? Shifting this B onto this stack along with this 4. That means I am shifting B and 4 onto this stack. Now my top of the stack is 4. Now I am performing the action of 4 comma B, and action of 4 comma B is from the table 4 comma B is R3. R3, that means what it means is reduce 3. And shifting is very easy. Performing the shifting operation is very easy. Just by shifting an symbol from the input buffer, symbol in the sense input from the input buffer, and the number, and that number to the pushing onto the stack, right? And while coming to the reduce, and here we need to perform some action. What the action is? R3 is a third rule, right? From the given grammar, we are considering that rule. That rule is an A tends to B. A tends to B. And here we're considering the RHS of that rule, where from this, whatever the thing I done here, I represented here, this is from the algorithm, right? This is from the algorithm. As from the algorithm, I'm implementing this, and I'm performing the parsing for the input string. And what it means is I'm mapping this with an A tends to beta. What the beta is? Length of the RHS. Here the length of the RHS is only 1. And after knowing the length of the RHS, we need to pop 2 beta. Means 2 into beta. That is 2 into 1. And here we're popping this 4 and B. Right. Now we need to perform the goto table. We need to perform the goto table. What it means? After popping, what is on the top of the stack? 2. Right. And here what the left hand side of the variable is? A. Goto of 2 with A is 6. Right. 2 with A is 6. And now you need to push this A and 6 onto the stack. You need to push this A and 6 onto the stack. Now my stack contains 0, A2, A6. Now I'm performing the action of 6 comma B. Action of 6 comma B. From the table, it is with 6 with B, it is an S7. That is shift 7. We need to parse the action. Shift 7. What I am shifting here? Shifting this input from the input buffer B along with this 7. That is B and 7 are shifted onto the stack. Now 7 is on the top of the stack. Again I am performing the action of 7 comma C. As from the parsing table, 7 with C is an S9. S9. That means again you need to parse an action shift. What I am shifting? I am shifting this C onto the stack and the 9 onto the stack. Now the C and 9 are on the stack. The top of the stack is a 9. Now action of 9 comma D. 9 comma D. And from the table action of 9 comma D is R2. That is reduce 2. what is R2? What is the production number 2 from the given grammar? The production number 2 is A tends to ABC. A tends to ABC. That means we are mapping this with an A tends to beta. Beta is the length of the RHS, and here the length is 3. Now pop 2 beta, that is 2 into 3, 6. We need to pop 6. After popping only, we need to write this go to. First, we need to complete this. We need to complete this popping action. Then only we need to write the go to. See, here 2 into 3 is 6. And after popping these 6 symbols from the stack, 6 symbols from the stack, what is on the top of the stack now? 2, right? Then go to of 2 comma, what the A is here. A is A, same in the both syntax and the production rule, the A is same. That's why I'm taking 2 comma A. And when I'm checking out, go to of 2 comma A is 2A in go to column, it is 6, and take it as an 6, right? Is it clear? Now this A and 6 are pushed onto the stack. This A and 6 are pushed onto the stack. Now my stack contains 0A, 2A, 6, and what the rest of the input in the input buffer is DE dollar. And now action of 6 comma D is shift 5. That means I am shifting this D and 5 onto the stack. Now what my stack consisting of? D5. On the top of the stack is 5. Now action of 5 comma E, reduce 4 from the table. From the table 5 comma E. See here 5 comma E is reduce 4, R4. And what the fourth rule from the given grammar? B tends to D. B tends to D is the rule number 4. And I'm mapping this with the syntax of the reduce function, that is reduce operation, that is A tends to beta. Beta is the length of the RHS, that means 1. Now we need to pop 2 beta. 2 into 1 is 2. Now pop these 2. Then the top of the stack is 6. Now write the go to. Go to of 6 comma. What the A here? It is an B. A is an B. So go to of 6 comma B. From the table it is 8. From the table it is 8. So push this B and 8 onto the stack. Push this B and 8 onto the stack. Now my stack contains 0A, 2A, B. Sorry, here we are having an 6, make a note. A, 6, B, 8. Means 0A, 2A, 6B8 is there. 6B8. And now perform action of 8. Now the top of the stack is, what we are having on top of the stack? 8. So action of 8 comma E. From the parsing table it is S10. What it means? It's to shift. S is an shift operation. So we are shifting this E and along with the 10 onto the stack. Now my stack contains 0A, 2A, B, 8, E, 10. Right. Now action of 10 comma dollar. Action of 10 comma dollar is R1, reduce 1. And here, what is the rule 1? S tends to A, B, C, right? S tends to A, B, C. And now what is the length of that RHS? What is the beta here? Beta is the length of the RHS. Beta is equal to 4, right? 4. And now pop 2 beta. 2 into 4 is an 8. Now pop these 8 symbols on the stack. Pop the 8 top symbols on the stack. That means 10, E, 8, B, 6, A, 2, A. These 8 symbols are popped from the stack. Now what it remains? The stack remains 0. Now what is on the top of the stack? 0. So go to of 0 comma. And what is A here? Yes. 0 with S is 1. Right. 0 with S is 1. Now push this S and 1 onto the stack. Push this S and 1 onto the stack. Now my stack contains 0S1. My stack contains 0S1. See here. My stack contains 0S1. And action of 1 comma dollar. From the table, what the action of 1 comma dollar is? Accept. Accept. Right. Is it clear? Is it clear? That means the input string was parsed by performing the 2 columns, that is by calling with an action we performed the parsing actions with shift, reduce, accept and error. These are the 4 main basic operations that we implemented here. And based on the parsing table, by using the parsing table, we implement the input parsing. That means we parse the input string with the stack. By the implementation of the stack, we parse the input string by using the predictive parsing table, right? Is it clear now? Now see, this is nothing but the go-to graph for G dash. Go-to graph for G dash. What it means is just if you take all the production rules from the I naught, or if you don't use the production rules, just if you use the I naught is whatever it may be, the process is correct. The representation process is correct. Either only we're taking with an I naught, or by representing along with the productions, the transition path, that means the graph representation is correct. If you get confused by writing all these rules, then eliminate the writing of the production rules. Just by taking the I naughts, item numbers, you construct the graph like this. It's enough, right? That means from I naught to, where from the computation of go-to function, we're having the transition path. We're having the transition path. What it means? With I naught with yes, it goes to I1. That means we know how, at last, what the canonical set of items that we get after computation from I naught to I10. So I naught is an initial state. I10 is an final state. Make it as an. And then from I naught to which state I need to process it with an which alphabet. That means here we're having the answer just by taking the output from the go-to computations. I naught with yes go to I1. That means by using a directed graph, I can represent the state-to-state transition. State-to-state transition means I naught with yes goes to I naught. I naught with A goes to I2. I naught with A goes to I3. I naught with B goes to I4. I naught with D goes to I5. And I2 with A goes to I6. I2 with B goes to I4. I3 with B goes to I7. Right. I6 with B goes to I8. I6 with B goes to I7. I6 with D goes to I5. I7 with C goes to I9, and I8 with E goes to I10. Here we are calling them as a canonical set of items when we are representing in the form of a graph structure, graph construction. Then we are calling them as in states. Then we are calling the I naught to I10 as an state representations. That means we are calling that state to state transition. I naught is in state 1, I naught is in state, I1 is in state, and from I naught to I10, all those are all the canonical set of states. By using all the canonical set of states, I know how the transition is done between the states by taking an output from the go-to computations. Then by considering the outputs of the go-to computation, then I can make the transition path with the input alphabets. Here my input alphabets are both the terminals and the non-terminals, right? But when we are constructing the finite automatas, there only we are considering the input alphabet as an terminals. We are not considering the non-terminals as an input alphabets. But when constructing in the form of a graph structure, here we are taking the both symbols, that is a terminal and the non-terminal, and we are finally representing the graph like this to show that it is an automaton graph. It is an automaton graph. No need to bother whether it is an NFA or whether it is an DFA. Here in this type of parsing techniques, we are not constructing the conversions from NFA to DFA, right? So just at last step, just draw the graph like this. Draw the graph. Why we're calling this as an go-to graph means we're taking from the go-to computations. We're taking everything, the states and the input symbols and the output states, all this we are taking from the go-to computations. So the naming for this graph is an go-to graph for the grammar G. Why the grammar G means initially my item I naught consisting of an augmented grammar S dash tends to S, right? That's why we are considering for the grammar G dash, and for that grammar G dash we are constructing the graph structure like this. We are representing the graph structure like this. And at the representation or the construction of the parsing table, here we are only considering the grammar G, not an grammar G dash. Why? Because in the go-to function, we are not taking an S dash as an variable. S dash is an non-terminal, right? Is it clear now? And these are the main 4 steps of construction of the SLR parsers. One is formatting the augmented grammar, two is constructing the canonical set of items, that is an I naught, and where it computes the closure of I and the goto of I. And then the third one is in finding of the first and follow functions. And the fourth one is in construction of the parsing table. And the last two steps are implementation. We check it out whether the input string is acceptable for the driven parsing table or not. And it gets success by checking with an input string. That means I parsed an input string by parsing the input string with an stack. And finally, I show that this string, this input string, whatever the input string I taken for doing the parsing, that string is acceptable string. And therefore, finally, how I am concluding this is the given grammar is an SLR grammar, or the given grammar is an LR of 0 grammar. And this is the process of answering the question in a step-by-step manner. In the next class, I will explain another technique under the LR parsings. This is an first SLR, first technique. Under the LR parsing techniques, this is the first one, first type of an technique, that is an SLR, where it is a simple LR technique. In the next class, I will explain the second type of an parsing technique, that is an CLR technique. CLR, canonical LR parsing technique.